coaching staff as they maybe discuss what this season could be like both for the team and for you?
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Stephanie White, and I'm not kidding.
In a world where every game can ignite a storm of opinions and fervent social media debates, it's not hard to understand why frustration boils over. Many believe that mainstream sports media fixates only on the negative, relentlessly critiquing Angel Reese while conveniently ignoring the moments when she shines. Yet the truth couldn't be further from that perception. In the midst of the roaring cheers and heated debates, Angel Reese's supporters have ignited what one might call beast mode, demanding that every good play be heralded as if it were history in the making. Meanwhile, our Sport Pulse's latest move, or some would argue lack thereof, has left many fans fuming, wondering if this is simply another case of media amnesia or something more calculated. It all began when Angel Reese, affectionately nicknamed by some as the Bayou Barbie, delivered one of the most electrifying performances we've seen in recent memory.
In college, I played, she coached against me and whatnot, and so we've known each other for quite a long time, and since I've been in the league, I was like, hey, when are you gonna coach me?
The excitement was palpable. Her game was a masterclass in skill and determination, yet the coverage from our Sport Pulse was, according to her most fervent followers, sorely lacking. Was this an intentional snub? Or was it merely a symptom of a media machine that has long relegated women's basketball to the periphery? The answer isn't clear-cut, but what is undeniable is the raw passion that has since ignited a firestorm online. Before we dive into the details of that unforgettable night, let's take a step back. Angel Reese's season had been marked by gradual improvements. Every game, every rebound, every assist was a building block that hinted at a future where she might finally receive the recognition she deserves. Critics had often dismissed her progress, and even the broader sports world seemed reluctant to fully embrace her as a transformative talent in women's basketball. But then came a night where everything changed. With the energy of the crowd and the stakes higher than ever, Angel Reese stepped onto the court ready to do more than simply play. She was on a mission to redefine what it means to be a star in women's hoops. As she lit up the arena with dazzling plays, her performance was a blend of athletic brilliance and raw emotion, a combination that even the most jaded observer could not ignore. Yet, as the game progressed and Angel Reese put up numbers that many would consider the best in the league thus far, there was a growing clamor among her supporters.
It was always just kind of a running joke, and it's been one for the past 3 or 4 years, and so to finally all kind of come together just at the right time, I'm stoked. I think she's a heck of a coach. I love her offense.
They demanded not only recognition for the game itself, but an overhaul of how media covers women's basketball. Their rallying cry, "Celebrate the good game." They insisted that every positive moment on the court deserved front-page treatment, not relegated to a side note. At the heart of the uproar was a burning question. Why didn't our Sport Pulse, the network known for its deep coverage of the game, push Angel Reese's achievements into the spotlight? It wasn't a secret that the network had a storied history, sometimes notorious, for giving women's basketball less than the limelight it so richly deserves. With every game where highlights were either downplayed or ignored altogether, fans began to wonder if there was a hidden agenda at play. Was there a deliberate effort to sideline one of the most promising talents in the league? For many, the answer was a resounding yes. They claimed that behind the polished presentations and scheduled segments, there lurked a bias that prevented Angel Reese's brilliance from receiving the constant attention it warranted. Their tweets, filled with pointed comparisons and meticulously compiled receipts, suggested that our Sport Pulse was deliberately ignoring Reese's outstanding performance. Every time another player's stats were lauded, Reese's numbers were seemingly brushed aside. And so, the accusation was leveled. A secret, anti-Angel conspiracy, masterminded in boardrooms where executives allegedly decided which stories were worthy of the red carpet treatment. In reality, it might be simpler. Our Sport Pulse, like many large media entities, simply doesn't have the capacity or the inclination to cover every highlight moment from every game. With an endless schedule and a multitude of sports to cover, sometimes good games slip through the cracks. Yet for Angel Reese's army of supporters, that explanation felt like a weak defense. To them, it wasn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. It was about respect, acknowledgement, and the celebration of an athlete who was clearly transforming the game before their eyes.
And so I was actually poolside when I found out, and There's a lot of emotions just because I have been out there for so long. But to be honest,
Yet, as the final buzzer sounded, the narrative wasn't solely about the brilliant game. Instead, it became a commentary on the broader issue of media representation in women's sports. While Angel Reese's performance was a beacon of excellence, the lack of corresponding media coverage raised serious questions about the systemic neglect of women's basketball. For every dazzling play, there was an echoing silence from the network. A silence that spoke volumes about the priorities of sports media in today's landscape. One cannot help but wonder about the inner workings of a network like our Sport Pulse. With so many stories competing for attention, it's inevitable that some will be left out. Yet, the case of Angel Reese has become emblematic of a deeper issue, the underrepresentation of women's sports. Our Sport Pulse, despite its reputation for quality coverage, has repeatedly been called out for treating women's basketball as a side quest, something secondary to the more mainstream narratives that dominate the airwaves. For instance, when comparing coverage of male athletes to their female counterparts, it's clear that there exists a disparity in both quantity and tone. Our Sport Pulse has, on numerous occasions, been accused of glossing over standout performances in the women's game, often burying them under the avalanche of other sports news. When a male star gets a dedicated 30-minute special, fans of Angel Reese argue that the same level of celebration is long overdue for her. This isn't just a minor oversight. It's a symptom of a larger cultural bias that has plagued sports media for years. Consider the irony. While our Sport Pulse might be busy fitting another segment on a well-established male superstar, the brilliance of Angel Reese is left to simmer in the background, waiting for its moment in the spotlight.
heck yeah, like we're about to go win a championship. Like that's exactly where my mind went. And like I said, it's all about the people, it's about the culture. I learned a lot out there, but now I'm ready to move on to something bigger, something better. And
the network's scheduling decisions, editorial priorities, and even its promotional tactics all contribute to this imbalance. And as fans take to social media to voice their outrage, it becomes clear that the issue isn't just about one player or one game. It's about a legacy of underappreciation that spans the entire history of women's basketball. In today's era of instant communication, a game-changing performance is never truly over until it's been dissected by fans online. The reaction to Angel Reese's game was swift and unyielding. Digital platforms became the modern coliseum, where passionate debates were waged with the precision of a well-rehearsed playbook. Fans posted screenshots, compared stat lines, and even started what could only be described as a digital manhunt for every missed opportunity by our Sport Pulse. One of the most striking elements of this outcry was the way fans approached the situation. Every tweet was laden with a mix of admiration, disbelief, and a dash of humor.
Look at the rest of these. If you want a small, here's the sign. Here it is right here. Sold out. Right?
They weren't just complaining. They were demanding accountability. Why did our Sport Pulse not cover this game? Became a rallying cry. Every missed highlight was treated as a personal slight, an insult to the passion and dedication that Angel Reese brings to the court every single night. What made the situation even more intriguing was the way fans began to analyze every detail of the network's social media activity. Armed with statistics and an unwavering belief in Reese's talent, they became amateur detectives, scrutinizing each post and comparing it with those of other athletes. A single stat line could trigger a cascade of memes, heated debates, and even elaborate theories about an alleged conspiracy to sideline Reese. Some even went so far as to suggest that there was a clandestine meeting held every morning where executives decided which players deserved to be in the limelight, and evidently, Angel Reese wasn't on that list.
Right there. Oh, okay, well let me get a medium. Sold out. Let me get a large. Sold out. Let me get an extra large. Sold out. Hey, 2X.
The fervor of this digital rebellion wasn't merely about the numbers, it was about identity. For many fans, Angel Reese isn't just an athlete. She's a symbol of hope, resilience, and the promise of a brighter future for women's basketball. In their eyes, every moment of brilliance on the court is a victory for all those who have long been marginalized by mainstream sports coverage. And when the network fails to recognize that, the reaction is nothing short of a full-scale digital uprising. Angel Reese's performance and the subsequent media and fan reaction are symptomatic of a much larger conversation about representation in sports.
oh, I love this. It's like I'm a rookie all over again. Nervous. Oh.
That's great.
Women's basketball has long been relegated to the sidelines in the sports media landscape, treated as a secondary narrative to the more lucrative male-dominated stories. The case of Angel Reese is not an isolated incident. It is part of a pattern that has been observed time and time again.